Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, 401 Sports World Fantasy Show. He is the calculator. I am Mr. 411. But before we get things rolling, my goodness, what amazing stuff that happened over week 8. And we're going to get into it. Isn't that right, calculator?
Greetings and salutations, Miss 411. And yes, I am ready to get to it.
Man, let's do it. November the 2nd. Unbelievable. We're already in November. The
I
year
tell
is
you, halfway there,
2021.
Mr. 411, halfway there.
Yes, sir. And the year is 2021, man.
Mm-hmm.
And time is just flying, man. And so are a lot of the injuries, which we'll get into in a little while. But before we do any more talk on the fantasy world, we need you all to do us a favor. We need you to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. And here's a sample.
And Mr. 411, another thing, we do go over on cross the lines, but the reason we want that notification button is because lots of waivers are very time sensitive. So you want to get out there before your co-mates and pick up that person, that the people that we're going to try and send your way.
Absolutely. Great point, calculator. Absolutely. All right. Welcome to the show. All right. News and notes for today. My goodness. What and
Uh,
amazing, man. It's all kind of things happening, popping off. But
Brutal.
and we got some things that are going to be labeled major,
Yeah.
but and here's the first one right here, major bombshell. Derrick Henry.
Oh,
My goodness.
yeah.
He's going to be out for the year. He's undergoing foot surgery.
Well,
We
now, Mr.
talking about him as a league MVP candidate.
Everybody was saying if they had to redo the draft, he'd be the number one overall pick.
Yeah.
They were saying
Yeah.
he was indestructible. And then look what
Look.
happens. Just like the Titanic, He hit the iceberg. He stepped on the iceberg.
Man. And as a result, calculator, guess what? The coach
Yeah.
signed Adrian Peterson.
From the things that go broke to the things that won't go broke.
Yeah. So I mean, this is amazing. So I mean, you have to put them on your fantasy radar, and I know we're going to touch on some waiver wire, which I know you can't wait to discuss. But
Yeah.
man, Adrian Peterson is back in the NFL. He's currently on the practice squad, but they have all intentions of moving him up.
Yeah, and he's been around the block, so he can pick up the playbook fairly quickly.
Absolutely. Jameis Winston from your team, the New Orleans Saints. My goodness, Winston, he's been having a I would say a up and down type season, but I think he was starting to find his way, and unfortunately he's down.
And you know what was ironic about that, Mr. 411? It was off of something that he normally doesn't do, which is scramble. He was scrambling, and did a horse collar tackle.
Yes.
Boom. ACL done, because he was eating the Tampa Bay up early in that game. If for those who were watching it, they were doing that man coverage, Tampa 2 type deal. So when all the people started bailing in coverage, they only were rushing 4. He could just run up the middle all day long, and he was nailing them. And he just got clipped with that horse collar tackle, and that was it.
And that's why that move is illegal. If you ever want to know why, that is why. Because now, as a result, a franchise loses their quarterback for the season, which can alter their entire, playoff hopes. I mean, it can really do damage there, and it's a ripple effect. And obviously, we keep teasing this, but we're going to eventually get into it where, the results of this will definitely be a major part of our waiver wire segment. And one more note, calculator. This is on the defensive end of things.
Oh man.
Wow, the Rams.
Yeah, but the only problem with that is in 98% of leagues, the Rams are already owned. So for the people that have those Rams defense, congratulations.
Absolutely. But guess what? Now you have to, if you're a fantasy manager out there, you may have to take a look at the Rams and consider them as a player. So you may have to try to work a trade or something, you know. And if you own the Rams, maybe you can wheel and deal a little bit.
Yeah, because a lot of times when you get a new addition, their value is they look overvalued somewhat, where a person that might trade for them is going to think a lot of good things before they actually play. You see what I'm saying? The anticipation is actually higher than the actual future results. So if there is a chance that you want to sell high, oh man, people going to be seeing that. They're going to be thinking, all these sacks and this, Von Miller now is not Von Miller of 2015, mind you. There's a reason that the Denver did deal him, and there's a reason that Denver even says not only are we going to deal him, we're going to pay his salary to deal him.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're not getting Von Miller 2015. However, you are getting Von Miller actually is getting a situation where a team actually doesn't game plan for him now. So he'll be getting single blocks all day. He'll be going up against running backs trying to block him. So good luck with teams doing that.
Oh yeah, I mean the Rams, the rich got richer, and they're obviously all in. I know you like to play. I know you like to play some Vegas type games, and poker in particular. And it looks like they're all in. And they're making the moves. They're giving up all their draft picks for players that they feel like can get them to the Super Bowl this year. So that'll be interesting to watch. And imagine this, man. And I kind of use it as in using basketball, for example. If you have Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden on the same roster, I mean, who can you game plan? And on the defensive end, Ramsey at corner, that's one level. Von Miller, another level at the backer. And then you have on the D line, Aaron Donald. I mean, what can you do?
It's just unfair.
This is crazy. I mean, what a week.
And don't forget, you got Floyd on the defense as well for the Rams. I mean, he's had a career resurgence because all the people are paying attention to Aaron Donald. So he can do. So now that's just another person that is going to be able to benefit from all the attention that has to be done to Aaron Donald. You know.
I mean, if you're a Rams fan, you should be happy. All right.
Yeah.
And we'll be happy if you check out the Sports Brothers. You check out Sports Brothers, but in particular, check out the 411 Sports World show, the Fantasy Football, the show that you're watching right now on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. You can find us on YouTube and what else, Calculator?
Zingo TV, my friend.
Yes, sir. We thank Zingo.
Yes.
All right, man. Let's jump to the next subject. Studs and duds. All right. My goodness. Studs and duds.
I mean, there's a reason they call that, because it can make you happy in one league and make you sad in another league. So now, as you see, some familiar names under there with AJ Brown and Josh Allen. The good thing about Josh Allen is never give up on that guy. He had 3 points at halftime, and then he just went ballistic. And he does basically only, it looks like, at any given moment, he could just go nuclear, which he proved. Michael Pittman, we actually had him on the waiver show a couple weeks ago. So for any of those people that picked him up, congratulations. It has now come through. Michael Carter, for all those people that drafted him. A lot of people, a lot of people were going off of him early on, but I don't even Matt White, whatever that dude's name is for the Jets. He was looking his way early and often, and then he was getting rushes too, and making the most of them, which was good. Yes. And Chris Godwin, he's the one. He said, "Okay, Antonio Brown 2 weeks ago, Mike Evans last week. Now it's my turn." And then Chris Godwin does what he does in that Tampa Bay offense. Just next man up, and they, you don't. It's almost like roulette. Just pick one. Of course, now you don't have to worry about Antonio Brown in the mix. It's just, is it going to be a Mike Evans day or a Chris Godwin day? Although when they play New Orleans, Lattimore shadows Mike Evans all the time and does make life a little difficult for him.
Yeah, calculate. Look at Michael Carter, man. 9 receptions. I mean, look at that bonus. 9 receptions and 95 yards. Yeah. He's a wide receiver and a running back in that game.
Yes.
I mean,
he was doing his best Patterson impersonation yesterday. playing both positions and excelling at them.
Yes. Yeah, tremendously. So, and you mentioned Josh Allen, right? Look at the top of my head. You see, I pulled all of that out. And Josh Allen's one of my guys.
He is definitely one of your players, especially in that listener league.
Oh my goodness! So I was pulling my hair out, and that's why I don't have any left up there. All right, but let's get some of the duds, man. My goodness.
Oh my
well,
goodness.
we gotta start with Derrick Henry. I mean,
and you can't say he was hurt. Yeah, he was hurt, but he wasn't hurt till after the game. He still had over 20 carries. It's just that Indy defense is just so tough against the run. I mean, they play an 8-man front because they trust their defense to cover. However, if you saw the game, it didn't work out because A.J. Brown had a field day against him trying to cover him one-on-one. But Derrick Henry was the beneficiary of all that attention, and as you can see, is on our dead list. Kyle Pitts, you would think he was going to have with a surprise scratch of Calvin Ridley. Although we might have used that in our notes that we should have, is Calvin Ridley was a surprise inactive due to personal issues. So we don't know how long he's going to be out or whatnot. But when Calvin Ridley's out and Kyle Pitts, now you got film on them, they're going to direct all your coverage to Kyle Pitts. So let's look forward to next week. If you have, if you're a Kyle Pitts owner, Lattimore might shadow Kyle Pitts. Even though he's classified as a tight end, they treat him like a wide receiver. Lattimore might say, hey, I'm going to take your best weapon away if Calvin Ridley's not playing. Terry McLaurin, I'm just going to chalk that up to bad game script, bad quarterback play. I think and he's still kind of hurt. Yeah. Oh, man. I guarantee you, although Terry McLaurin usually does fine, but Heineke usually throws him 50-50 balls, but for some reason, Heineke didn't do it. And I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason. I think a bye week's going to be good for that whole Redskin team. Couldn't come at a better time. Nick Chubb, I just really couldn't get on track from the get-go. Baker Mayfield couldn't keep defenses honest, and it was just an ugly game for Cleveland all around. I think better things are going to come. And I actually picked Nick Chubb. I think for all those daily owners, if his price goes down based on this bad game, you might want to think jumping back on the Nick Chubb train because he's going against Cincinnati, who he's usually feasted against. And you could say this isn't your mama's Cincinnati. Well, the Jets. We saw what both running backs for the Jets did against Cincinnati this weekend. Nick Chubb could do the same, if not better. And Leonard Fournette, again, Tampa Bay, you would think Leonard Fournette being kind of a game script proof. That did not prove the point. As soon as they got far behind, they put Giovanni Bernard. He got one of those touchdowns that Leonard Fournette usually gets. They're getting Ronald Jones Jr. back in. I guess he's out of the doghouse, giving him some love because they know it's a 17-week season, and want to keep Leonard Fournette somewhat fresh, especially when he's proven when they use him, he usually does well. But yes, he did not do his thing this past week, so that's why he made the dud list.
Yes, sir. And to stay fresh, calculator, since you mentioned that, if you want to stay fresh and look at these players, man, they're going through the battles and the bruises and all the nicks and all the pains and aches of the season. And if you're going through a lot of pains and aches and you need some soothing, check out Heavenly Spa Mobile. LaTanya is our major sponsor. She looks out for the Formula Sportsworld show, the Sports Brothers, and all in between. And you can find her on 2484 Ingleside Avenue, Building A, Suite 101-A, Macon, Georgia, 31204. LaTanya can be reached at 478-747-9231. Heavenly Spa Mobile, where relaxation is the key.
Yes, sir.
All right. Calculator, let's take it to the wire. All right. All those studs and duds. With that being the case, man, we have to dig the crates. We have to get in there and we need to help everyone. We need to help fantasy managers out there across the world. And with the right pickups right now. There's a key part of the season right here where teams, especially a team like my own, I'm trying to make a playoff push, trying to get in there. So what I need to do? What do the listeners need to
Well,
do?
first of all, let's look at the Philadelphia backfield. People could be saying, "Well, Boston Scott's not available in league." Well, I researched this weekend, and he is only 20% rostered in all the Yahoo leagues. So check the waiver wire in case you were we were on Gainwell at the beginning of last week, but then I started looking into the thing. And it looks like Boston Scott was going to be the replacement for Miles Sanders, and Philadelphia went one step further and brought it back in Jordan Howard for Miles Sanders, and they had the great matchup of playing Detroit. They actually, the Eagles actually ran 5 running backs out there, 236 yards on Sunday, and it just whipped. Hey, and Philly did what any good team would do. They would said, "Hey, if you can't stop the run, we're going to keep running the ball." That's and Boston Scott was a recipient. I know Jordan Howard's out there. However, I'm not going to really suggest Jordan Howard as a pickup. Right. He was a beneficial of game script, and Philadelphia's not going to be in a lot of game scripts every week like they were against Detroit. So if you want one owner out of that whole backfield, Boston Scott's the way to go, in my opinion, especially since Sanders was placed on IR. So we know he's going to miss at least 2 more games. Another one that is only rostered in 22% of leagues that, hey, he might have been an afterthought since they were off a bye week, and we touched it a little bit last week, was Devontae Freeman. Hey, You won't find many people committed to anything as much as the Ravens are committed to running the football. They've led the NFL rush in the last 3 seasons. They're again at the top of the league this year. I want part of that backfield, and a lot Tyson Williams is, been a surprising active when all 3 of these guys, when I say 3, it's Murray, Bell, Freeman are all active, but Freeman is actually getting passing work down, and he's actually gotten goal line carries. He has 2 touchdowns in his past 2 games. So in my opinion, if he's available, I see no problems making room for Devontae Freeman in that backfield. And this one is, I don't want people to get tripped up on. And what I'm saying is, people automatically saw Derrick Henry hurt. They probably all went and put number 1 waiver priorities, the rest of their fab money on Jeremy McNichols, who is the only man standing in Tennessee right now. But we saw it just happen. Adrian Peterson just came in to town. So you say, okay, how am I going to value this? Yes, McNichols is the pickup, but I would not spend a top 2 waiver priority on him. I would spend 25, 30% of your remaining fab. So if you have 100, I'm all about $30, $35. You might not get that bid on it, but the reason is, yes, you might want to be aggressive, but you gotta taper it back some, because Peterson is looks like once he gets the playbook down, McNichols will go back to that pass catcher role. And even though his target snap share will increase, he still won't get the target share that he is going to be required to really require the type of fab that some people are going to spend on him, because I think once like I said, AP gets there, he's going to be first and second down back and goal line running back. McNichols will then be pushed because they like McNichols in the passing role. And hey, you never know. Now without Derrick Henry, Tennessee might go to air raid where they're just going to pass it all around. Julio Jones going to be coming back. They got A.J. Brown doing his thing. McNichols running pass patterns, get the tight end involved. They could go to that, but it's going to take a couple weeks to put that game plan down. But what I'm saying is, yes, McNichols, Peterson, both were worth a pickup, but a lot of times don't go overboard is my only point. Another guy you might want to look at, Carlos Hyde. He's going to be cheap. He's going to be available. The reason I say Carlos Hyde, Robinson exited with a heel injury last game. We don't know how serious it is, but hey, Hyde just showed he had 15 touches, 72 scrimmage yards, right? So he was getting the bulk of the work. A lot of that through the passing game too, especially with paying catch-up. And the surprise name, and I saw it because I'm a Darren Williams owner for Kansas City. I thought it was Frank Gore running the ball. I didn't even know there was another Gore in the league. I'm saying Frank Gore's with the Kansas City Chiefs. I was looking on my waiver wire and said, he's saying he's with the Jets. The guy's name is Derrick Gore. It was funny because if you watch the Manning Monday night cast, which I do because I love how they get these guests on, and
they're hilarious.
I love how they are great together. And I forgot who I can't remember which guest it was, but he said it might have been Michael Irvin, and he said, "Is that Frank Gore?" and then Eli had to say, "No, this guy is Derrick Gore." So I guarantee you, he is on the waiver wire. And if you really need somebody to pick up, hey, he got a touchdown and he looked good. I mean, when you got a double cover Tyreek Hill, you got a double cover Kelsey, you play that 2 deep safety like the Giants where you're inviting teams to run. Derrick Gore and Williams, they were getting running pieces, and Derrick Gore looked good when he caught the ball as well. And then Jarrett Patterson, it looks like he could be the next man up for the Washington Redskins at the running back. But hey, let's go to receivers. Number 1 guy, look at our list, Rashad Bateman. Hey, yes, his ownership is slowly rising. And hey, I don't like to brag or bring attention to myself, Mr. 411, but I picked up Rashad. I never do. I picked up Rashad Bateman at the beginner in the listener league because I liked his measurables. Even though he was on IR, luckily Mr. 411 is generous and he sets his league up with an IR slot, which he should because lots of teams do. I took advantage. I said, hey, I'll wait and see. And it's looking like he has the size, he has the strength, kind of like I will say a slower Calvin Johnson, but hey, any comparable to Calvin Johnson is a good thing in my opinion.
Yes,
he's a perfect complement to the smaller Marquise Brown. He was a terror at the collegiate level, and I think he's going to make his mark in what could be a pass heavy Baltimore team this year. Hunter Renfro, he's a PPR machine. He has shown that he is going to be in there, but it just made the news, Mr. 41. I don't know. Did you hear about Henry Ruggs today?
Oh, I heard. He has the unfortunate news. I didn't know if it was accurate or not, so I didn't say.
Yes, it was accurate. Unfortunately, it just came out over the wire. Unfortunately, he will be facing legal troubles on the near future. He will probably put on the exempt list because the NFL does like the legal process to. But for those who have played fantasy football for a while, this is similar to the Dante Stallworth issue that happened a while back. Somebody unfortunately died as a result of an accident that could be related to a DUI. So I think this is going to push Renfro's target share even up more. Brian Edwards, I hate to report news because this is a sad situation, especially for such a youngster in there with a bright future. But we are a fantasy show, so we have to give the news on what this happens. So Brian Edwards, he's available. Henry Renfro, the 2 main receivers out of Las Vegas if Henry Ruggs will miss time, which it's almost 100% sure, especially because I'm just thankful that he stayed there. He cooperated. He didn't do a hit and run to where they started out. He was cooperating. And I think that's actually going to go a long way into hopefully being lenient on him for a guy that had a bright future, just made a terrible mistake and lapse of judgment. But I hope a lot of these younger people look at that. When we were younger, 411, we had to call cabs, and a lot of it. Now there's Lyft, there's Ubers, there's so many alternatives you could do to not put yourself in that situation. And I hate to hit it because I was a Ruggs fan, loved him coming out of Alabama, loved what he could bring to Vegas, just stretching fields. We saw how he killed the Saints last year on a big play. I still have it in my memory on what he can do. So we got to put our 2 wide receiver candidates on the waiver wire, Hunter Renfro, Brian Edwards, because I think that's going to be missed, especially with, we still don't know if Darren Waller's going to come back anytime soon. We don't know if his ankle is any more serious than what they said, local ankle sprain. Well, Saquon Barkley has a low ankle sprain. He's been out 3 weeks. So we got to take that area. So the 2 main targets right now is if Josh Jacobs come back, he could get more catches, but Hunter Renfro, Brian Edwards. Devontae Parker. Oh my gosh. Is Will Fuller coming back? We don't know. But hey, a lot of people have discarded Devontae Parker, especially after he missed 3 weeks with a hamstring injury. But he drew 11 targets in his return, so I think he deserves a spot somewhere. He finished with 8 catches, 85 yards against a tough Bills defense. This week he gets a home matchup with Houston's defense, which has allowed a generous 8.6 yards per pass attempt. And he was just the Houston was just embarrassed by Matt Stafford. Parker has seen at least 7 targets in every game that he has played. So volume is not a concern. Unfortunately for Waddle owners, they were the ones that were recipient of Waddle that could have been on the dud list if you started him. But a lot of that was because Devontae Parker came back. Additional wide receivers, you can look at our list with Gallup is coming back. He's going to get a lot of good target share. Jamison Crowder, always, especially with Corey Davis still suffering injury. Van Jefferson, I like all Rams receivers at this point.
Anybody with a Rams helmet.
Yeah, and look at those tight ends. When have we ever seen at least 3 tight ends? Logan Thomas is probably out there because he's hurt, but they got a bye week. He could be getting healthy. Washington loves their tight ends. Dan Arnold, beast mode. Wow, 10 chances in Sunday's loss, 8 targets, 68 yards. I can be a proud owner. I have him in one of my guillotine leagues because I had Mark Andrews. Hey, I didn't pick up Dan Arnold to be my starter. Mark Andrews was on the bye last week. Darren Arnold, thank you for letting me go on one more week in the guillotine league so I can get Mark Andrews back. And, of course, the Pat Freiermuth, they cleverly named him on the Fantasy Footballers as the Muth is loose, going, the Muth. And he had a nice highlight touchdown against Cleveland on Sunday. So if he's available, I like Freiermuth. I like Dan Arnold. Heck, even Tyler Conklin, if he happens to be available after he was off last week, somebody might have cut him for bench spots. Those are guys you can look for at the tight end position. And a little sneaky one, we talked about Jameis Winston. Taysom Hill, he should be back off of the IR. They weren't rushing him back. He was in concussion protocol. He could have passed concussion protocol, and he would have been back right away. But Jameis Winston was playing well. Defense was playing well. They said, Taysom Hill, take your time. Take another day off. Well, with Wilson's injury, they said, okay, time for you to come off an injury. out of concussion protocol and help us out because now we want Taysom Hill. And, hey, for all those people that have been riding the Jalen Hurts fantasy ride for the first, not last week, the prior weeks before, Taysom Hill's the same way. He's going to get you that safe floor with his rushing, and he'll get you a couple passing touchdowns here and there. So he's got that high floor, which we always value for those people that like to stream quarterbacks, or for people that have quarterbacks coming up on a bye here shortly. Taysom Hill, hey, he's a guy that you might want to take a fun ride with him, because when he played, he produced. There was no doubt about it. And then, we know our people love to stream defenses on this that watch this program. The New Orleans Saints, they're only 46% rostered, so a lot of people weren't backing them against Tampa Bay, but they showed they're matchup proof. You put a team up in there, they're going to rush the quarterback, and they can produce turnovers. And as they can show, when they get some turnovers, they can turn them into touchdowns. And hey, the Falcons are on deck this next week. So hey, that's almost 3 automatic sacks, an interception or 2. And hey, and then in the fantasy playoffs, hey, why not? Let's look ahead. Playoffs are coming up. Miami and Carolina are 2 of the playoff teams they'll be going against, who are teams that, they like to give the ball away every now and then. So, yeah, I like the Saints defense if they're available. Might want to take them for their matchup this week and possibly hold on to them for fantasy playoff time.
Yes, sir. And calculate, you also mentioned earlier using your FAB, right? And so for those who are not familiar with what the FAB is, FAB is it stands for free agent acquisition budget. So that's the dollars that you have in the particular leagues that you play in. Generally Correct. Salary cap type leagues, right, calculator?
Well, that could be any type of league. Like, I have a home league where I use FAB. I went with it. It was one of those things that a lot of people go to because they say that's I know she isn't on our show with us, but Lacey is a strict vocal person that doesn't like FAB. But I love Fab. There are some leagues I've actually turned down. New leagues that have tried me to get me to join. Well, first of all, I have leagues with our listeners and stuff that I enjoy. But if it's a new league that's coming up, if they don't do Fab, a lot of times that's my thing that I will not take on a new league unless they do Fab. Fab, I think it doesn't penalize you because a lot of them are what they call the worst record type waiver wires. So say you have a bad week, just because you have players underperform, now you can pick up one of the top players that's a waiver wire and make a strong team even better. Why a team could have gotten lucky 1-0, they don't get that player. Fab says, okay, I not only and what the strategy is, you don't know what everybody's bidding. You're going to do what you think is best, and it's the fairest because everybody starts off with the same amount of money. And if you want to blow your money, that's your. If you want to hold back and wait for the playoff push, that's your thing. There's all kinds of strategy, and that's why I really enjoy Fab because there's a strategy every single week you use for your waivers is the Fab. And hey, like I said, I in my home league, I've used 45% of my Fab. I'm not going to use. I'm not going to bid $30 on McNichols. McNichols is available now. I'm not going to use $30 because I want to save that because I think there could be another injury that comes down the road that my guy, Sony Michel is available in that league. I really don't have a roster spot for Sony Michel. I'm a Darrell Henderson owner. But if something happens to him later, if something happens to Darrell Henderson later in the year, I want to have that cushion that then I can bid high for Sony Michel. So I'm a guy that's I'm not gonna I'm gonna throw $15-20 a Fab on McNichols, see if he falls to me, and I'm gonna throw $10 on Adrian Peterson as a contingency bid. If McNichols doesn't fall to me, I can pick up Adrian Peterson. I would rather have one of those guys over a Sony Michel as a handcuff. I want a guy that is going to get guaranteed touches rather than a guy that's not. So I'm not going to be in handcuff mode until I'm assured of a playoff spot, actually, because right now you just need to make the playoffs before you start thinking about the playoffs.
Absolutely. That's the case I'm in, Calculator. But before we get into our listener league, we're going to make a quick pivot to the daily. Just to let everyone know, if you will play daily and you want to hit the jackpot, here's the list of players that would have got you.
Yeah. And I was looking at
Mike White, Calculator. Who would have had Mike White?
Nobody would have had Mike White. I can assure you his ownership was very low in day leagues. The only people that would have had him are the people, unfortunately, the people that would have had Mike White I saw were people that had to get the salary to go after Derrick Henry. That's why a lot of people got burned who had Mike White. A lot of times they were riding him with Derrick Henry, which turned out to be disastrous. But yeah, Eagles defense was a perfect pickup. They had the home game. They had they were on the road. That's one of the reasons.
They had the Lions.
The Lions is a perfect defense. But if you were saving money on Michael Carter, he was a good salary saver, stuff like that to pay up for a AJ Brown. For Darrell Henderson was actually kind of expensive for my taste in daily, so I didn't have a lot of Darrell Henderson Jr. But hey, you have the prices there for you that kind of look. You could have a mid-tier lineup right there and done very well, but I don't think a lot of people could have stomached starting Mike White in any cash games that I would know.
Yeah. I mean, you can always play Monday morning quarterback on that one, but yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, look at this. So, I mean, it just goes to show you, man, you just never know how this thing's going to go. But there's your jackpot right there. If you were fortunate enough to put that combination of players together, so
that's $1 million maker right there.
Yes, sir. All right, Calculator. Before we get to the listener league, there's a comment, and it's from Justin. So we're gonna go ahead and first thank you, Justin,
good friend of the show,
for your comments. Justin. Yes, I think I always compliment him on his Carmelo Anthony picture there that he likes to use. But I don't know why, but I just like that picture for some reason. Even though I'm a Laker fan. Oh, by the way, he's a Laker now. But yes, I get D-Hop, Gaskin. What he said, I get D-Hop, Gaskin, and Myers.
He gets Hopkins, Gaskin, Myers, which I'm sure Jacoby Myers for the Patriots.
Right. Okay. Then he's giving up Schultz, DJ Moore, and Javante.
See, the reason is he's not going to play Schultz because he has Pitts. Pitts, even
Yeah.
though he struggled, you're not starting Schultz over Pitts ever. So Schultz is actually a guy that this is almost a throw-in. However, I like Javante more than Gaskins. I really do. But he's getting D-Hop. D-Hop is the best player, even though he's hurt. He is the best player in this draft or in this particular deal. So I'm going on thinking, and I'm making the trade. I want to get the best player in a trade that I think, even though and I think the only reason he's Justin's getting a chance of getting D Hop is because he's injured right now. But hey, they had a couple extra days, and when it counted, and we saw D Hop even hurt, he still got separation on that one long play. If it weren't for that face mask, we're talking about a 15-point play. So D Hop is still the best player in the trade. Gaskin, you're probably it's going to be hard to play him, but Javante with Melvin Gordon stealing all that stuff, it's hard to count on Javante.
Yeah.
So when I look at Gaskins and Javante, kind of a cross out, D Hop, in my opinion, is better than DJ Moore. Although I love DJ Moore, don't get me wrong, but Sam Darnold, how long is he going to be out? He just got lit up
against the Falcons
when oh my goodness.
I saw that play.
Oh, I was watching. Hey, Miss 411, I was at a soccer game, and my daughter's she knows I really suffer when I go to these soccer games, missing football. So on the way home, she let me watch the Falcons on my phone while she drove home, and I saw that play. When that helmet flew up, I had remembrances of Robert Griffin III that time, and it was against the same team, the Falcons, just got lit up and was never the same again. He kind of that might deter his running shortly, but if he's out, that's gonna if Sam Darnold, or for all the problems that Sam Darnold has, he does target DJ Moore. And I don't know about that PJ guy. I don't know how often he's going to throw, or if they're going to throw that much. They might just McCaffrey will come. So DJ Moore might be a guy. So if you're getting D-Hop in that, I like it, because you're not, like I said, you're not giving up. I mean, don't care. I'm not carrying a backup tight end for a tight end I'm going to start every week and has had his bye week. So I would take that. I would take that trade if that was offered to me.
Yep. All right, Justin, take the trade, man. All right, here's another comment. All right. Can you see it?
Yeah, I'm not trading for Montgomery. And the one thing that scares me about, well, first of all, the Chicago offensive line is horrible. Second of all, Justin Fields is now feeling more comfortable running the ball. And third of all, they really like Herbert, and and when he's making as much money and David Montgomery is going to be coming up for a contract extension, they might want to look at more what Herbert's going. I'm really down on Montgomery after Herbert has established himself, because even if Montgomery comes back, he's not getting 70% of snaps that he was getting before. So no, Michael Carter is a guy that's on the way up. If I had a David Montgomery and I could get a Michael Carter, I might even make that trade. But a lot of people aren't going to trade a healthy guy for a injured guy. I know a lot of people are all about trading for guys that have their value is depressed based on situations. But this one, I'm not giving up a high lookout Carter, Michael Carter. He could. You talked about it at the beginning of the show for one. He's a wide receiver and a running back, classified as a running back. He's so yeah. I'm riding the Michael Carter train for now, especially when you're looking at all the negative game scripts that the Jets are going to be in throughout this year. Michael Carter, he's on the way up. If anything, I'm targeting Michael Carter. Now, if I could get a top starting healthy running back for Michael Carter, somebody, I might go for that. It's hard to say who's out there, because it's just so hit or miss, but hey, if somebody's tired of it wouldn't happen, but because I'm a McCaffrey owner, if somebody wanted a McCaffrey for Michael Carter, I can say no, I wouldn't do that, because I'm a McCaffrey owner, so I'm trying to put myself in that situation. But yeah, I wouldn't trade Michael Carter. Is a great guy that you can stick in your flex position, especially when they're going to be in negative game strips throughout the year.
Calculator, true story. I had Michael Carter on my team, and I gave up on him. And now I sit
Uh-huh.
back and regret it now. But he was on my roster. You know what I mean? Early in the
Yeah.
season. Early in the season. And I mean, now he's looking like somebody you have to roll with for the rest of the way, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
he's going to be the guy for the Jets.
yeah, and Mr. For One, I was with you on the Michael Carter train, and I think my advice is at the time is you can drop him if you needed somebody else. So,
Yeah.
you're not the only one. Now I have now his draft stock was too high that I didn't have him on any of my teams. In any of the leagues I played in. So, I was kind of down on him. And then it looked like, with Tevin Coleman, get me in all the hype. And then I really like that Ty Johnson. Looks like he was it. But Michael Carter's proven that,
He's the man.
he can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And Matt Chen, we thank you for your comment as well.
Absolutely. Thanks, Matt.
As we know that you're asking the question too about Michael Carter for
Mhm.
David Montgomery. I think we're in agreement here, right, Calculator? Michael
Yes.
Carter.
Michael
Yes.
Carter over David Montgomery. I would not make that trade. Correct.
All right. We definitely appreciate the listeners for commenting. And look, we value them. You send us the comments. You post them on the YouTube as well, and we will comment. So type in 411 Sports World on YouTube. Type in 411 the numbers 411 with a space in there, and type in Sports World. Follow us and put your comments out there, even on shows that have already been played or current shows. We will comment in the right calculator.
That's right. We answer all the comments.
Yep. So you send us what you need. We'll give you our answers.
Yes, sir.
All right, listener league. It's time to talk about our league calculator. The
Yes,
listener
sir.
league. So let's get into it.
I kind of commented on it our last show. The matchup was first and second place with Larry and well, I'm sorry, second and third place because Captain Cosmo was in first and he still is.
Yes.
But me and Larry, we have a storied rivalry. We all the back to his Stone Cold days and his Mr. LT and all that stuff, various names. But yeah, it was another good barn burner. I mean, Larry, he was putting it on me early on with his Aaron Jones and Joe Mixon getting their 20 points a game. And I'll just go to this matchup because this was the highlight of the matchup that we looked at. And AJ Brown. He kept me afloat. Darrell Henderson, he was doing his thing. Hubbard got that garbage touch. Well, I say garbage. It was actually a go-ahead touchdown, but he was gifted it after Atlanta pretty much gave up on the game and let him get into the end zone. And then Robert Woods. I mean, I just had a all around good effort. Justin Jefferson, my new prized possession that I gave up Patterson for, he let me down of all the things. But I was fortunate. If you look, I was fortunate that LT decided if you show his bench players, he sat Tyler Lockett this week, and that was the main difference. He started Mike Williams in the flex over him. I actually talked with Larry offline. He gave a congratulatory text on the victory, saying, hopes he sees me in the playoffs and stuff. And I said, well, I appreciate it, but yeah. The thing is, I was telling him I said, don't beat yourself up on the Lockett call. I told him I have another league. And I have many leagues. I sat Tyler Lockett for Marquez Callaway. Okay, so it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, when has Geno Smith supported Lockett since he's been in there? Not very many times. So I have no. I'm thankful that I happen to be the beneficiary of that. But yeah, a lot of people weren't starting Lockett this week until they saw something. Now it looks like Lockett's going to have to go in, especially after the bye week because Russell Wilson's coming back. So then, LT. Luckily, I won't have to. I won't see Lockett again unless it's in the playoffs. But it was a great match. Captain Cosmo, as you can see, he's keeping his thing going. And another thing, back to Larry. You look, he could have played almost any other team and won. He just happened to play, but he happened to play. I happened to have a good week, best this week, which I was happy for. Seatown Ballers. I don't know. I feel so So sorry for your friend, Mr. 411, but he's
I
always
tell you,
catching somebody on their best
he's
week
catching the
with
rain.
awards warriors coming to play an old legacy name by our friend United We Stand. Changed his name once again, and it worked out. 134 points to take down Seatown. If you go to the thing, Seatown Ballers, 1,100,
Yes,
almost
he is killing
1,200
it.
points scored against him. That is, that's close to Lacey.
It might
Well,
be a
no, it's more than
record.
Lacey. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the most in the league, but 1,140 points more than the nearest person. Yeah. Mr. Craig, he's your sports brother. He's finding the worst time to play these people. So, but yeah, it was another. And then, like I said, Captain Cosmo, he didn't have the most points, but he played the team he needed to play this week to keep it going. But hey, he scored a lot of points because that's why we have tiebreakers in total points.
Yep,
You can have an off week and still keep first place if you're scoring those other weeks. So if you
that's
look
right.
at the standings, it looks good with I'm trying to count, but I think see who's coming up. It is first versus second place this week. Captain
It's gonna be
Cosmo, I'm coming
good.
for you, my friend. Yes, sir.
That's gonna be
I,
the
I
matchup of the week.
hopefully that's and I'm hoping McCaffrey will come back, but I say that every week. But if he doesn't come back, I'll just throw Chuba Hubbard in there and roll with him again. But yeah, that looks like 1 versus 2. I get in. Uh, what's this schedule? I must be the Tennessee Titans 4-1. I'm getting all these hard teams right in a row. So
Hey,
we'll see. We'll
you're
see.
in the
Yeah,
meat of your
I'm looking
schedule.
forward. That's right. Hey, there will be who the winner of this will be in first place no matter what. So
Yeah.
on this. So well, I'm
All
looking
right.
forward to the matchup. And Mr. 4-1, you're coming on strong. Looks like you have a tough team coming up as well. But you had a good week
Ye-
last week as well. I
Yes.
mean, I think you had the second highest point total. So you're turning things around, it looks like. So we'll go and look at quickly at your matchup that you did.
Yeah.
Higgins. Oh, Josh Allen, you talked about him. 3 points at
Yeah.
halftime and then ends up as the highest scoring quarterback in the league. And Jonathan Taylor, and man, you're riding the Herbert train still. I mean,
I'm
that's why I
riding that
don't.
train,
I'll
man.
tell you that you ride it till it stops, right? And then you're getting your field goal. I mean, and Randall Cobb, pickup of the week. That was a great decision. Hey, he only had 2 catches, but they were both touchdowns.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's all
he
you
was
get.
my
That's all you
he
can
was.
ask for.
I lost by 3 points in my big money league, and it was a guy that started Randall Cobb. So I was very disappointed in that. But yeah, it looks like you're coming on strong too. And hey, you keep riding that Herbert train, and then hey, you keep work. That's why you work the waiver wire, Mister 401. You can have all these injuries, all these bad lucks, but as long as you work that waiver wire, keep your head above water, you will, you will benefit.
Yes, sir. Can we get Saquon back? That's the question. I
Uh,
have him on my
that's what I'm
roster, and
saying. You're doing all this
can we get
with
him
your number
back?
one pick. I mean, your number one picks on injured, and you still doing it. So keep it up, Mister 411. Keep doing your thing.
All
Show people
right.
how to work that
All
waiver
right.
wire.
Yeah. Have no choice, calculator.
Yeah,
All right. Well, man, great summary of the listener league. It's fun. I definitely enjoy it,
yeah,
and
we
so
enjoy it.
do a lot of the listeners. Yeah, and I know Larry's out there listening. He may not
Yes, he
be
is.
totally happy because he had a
So
tough defeat, but Larry,
yeah,
you are one of the better teams in the league. So
yes,
you keep pushing, Larry.
and I told Larry I'm glad I won't have to play him again unless it's playoffs.
That's right. Absolutely, man. All right. Well, what a show today, calculator. It was a lot to
Yes, sir.
cover, a lot to unpack, a lot of injuries out there. But this is the beauty of playing fantasy sports. No matter what sport it is, fantasy sports. You have to draft, but then you have to manage throughout the
Yes,
season. So there's
the
ebbs and
draft is
flows, and
the draft is only half the battle, my friend.
it's yes, that's it. All right. So stay tuned. Shoot us the questions. And for the calculator, I am Mr. 411. We thank everyone for watching and listening. And come back and check us out next Tuesday for the fantasy show. But check us out tonight on the Sports Brothers, and also be on the lookout for Crossing the Lines, where we help you do your very best with the friendly wagers and fatten your pockets.
Yeah.
All right, calculator, we are out of here.
All right. Bye, everyone.